This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you drive long haul, short haul, or heavy haul, they're here to empower and inspire women in the trades on tncradio.live. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Decaro. We're a show designed to inspire and empower women in trucking, in the trades, and everywhere, with informative guests, experts, celebrities, and people who are champions for women. I'm Shelley, and
I'm Kathy.
Every topic can be discussed on our rig, and we want women to be the best they can be. We like to interview experts who offer guidance to women on topics that empower them. Dream guidance has been used for centuries by ancient societies. Dream enablement is something Carl Jung talked about. It's a practice of not only dream interpretation, but asking our dreams how to handle things in our lives and gain insight. Spontaneous dreaming is also part of our psyche that can lead to revolutionary things. Case in point, a young man dreamed of a tune that he initially called Scrambled Eggs. He later changed the title to Yesterday. His name is Paul McCartney, and that song became one of the most popular tunes around the world. John Lennon also used spontaneous dream inspiration for his music. Everyone dreams, but most people don't know that their dreams can be used for personal development. Therapist, dream expert, and founder of the Young Society of Utah and the Young Platform, Machiel Klerk, shares how, through dream incubation, you can manifest the life of your dreams just by cultivating an intimate relationship with your own dreams and taking the guidance you receive from your subconscious. All you have to do is ask the right question. Machiel holds a master's in depth psychology from Pacifica Graduate Institute. He's been a mental health therapist since 2006 and interpreted 20,000 of his patients' dreams. He's the author of Dream Guidance. He's with us today on our show. Welcome, Machiel. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's such a pleasure to be here, Shelley and Kathy. I've been looking forward to this.
Yes, this
Me
is
too.
This is such a fascinating subject, and I'm not sure everyone really has a handle on what their dreams mean. What is the significance of dreams? I thought a lot of professionals have said it's just a way for the brain to process everything we've encountered during the day.
I don't believe that. Not one bit. I'm sorry, Shelley. Nope.
Oh, no, that's fine. I've heard that, though.
Yeah.
So what are dreams all about, Machiel?
Well, indeed, it has been for a while in theory, especially in the scientific community, that dreams were perhaps just the brain reorganizing itself or deleting information.
Uh-huh.
But even there, the ongoing discovery and study shows that dreams have to do with memory formation, yet and digesting emotional experiences, so they can really help with the digestion of trauma or pain or suffering. But what a lot of people have experienced throughout their life, and of which there's enough anecdotal evidence, just like Paul McCartney that you just mentioned, is that dreams can come to people and provide support and guidance on their life path. Either they provide a creative solution or almost like a psychological x-ray of what goes on inside a person. We might have a dream about something that happens at the other side of the world or in the near future. So dreams have the ability to help and support a person on their life path.
Well, I know that there's some people who keep dream notebooks.
Yeah.
Is that a helpful thing to kind of maybe piece together some sort of message?
Yeah, absolutely. Because to start with, if we don't write down the dream immediately in the morning, 90% of the dreams seem to evaporate.
Mm-hmm.
And that really has to do with that the mind becomes, the short-term memory becomes inactive at night. So we don't remember the dreams. So we have to write them down. And then what people also see is that they have more dreams, and that dreams also seem to know, oh, this person is listening to me. Let me give this person more help and more support. So it's very relational, the engagement with dreams.
What is actually happening with a dream? Is it our subconscious? What's going on there?
Well, this is, of course, a big question. What I've seen is that some aspects of the dream really have to do with the personal life of the person, and have indeed a bit more to do with what goes on throughout the day, and then at night we might dream about it. Other parts of the dream seem to really indicate that we get inspiration from something that seems to be not us, and that comes with really interesting creative solutions, or like a piece of music, or the plot for a book, or my company, the Young Platform. I had a dream about. So I also think that we tap into something larger than ourselves that can provide really creative solutions.
And what would that be?
Well, in Carl Jung would call it the collective unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Some traditions might call it the divine, or the larger awareness. Then there are also figures in the dream that are clearly not us. That we can even meet an ancestor in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
or what the Greeks called the daimon, a kind of a spirit guide that is there to support us.
Yes.
So those are all the figures that we might encounter.
Well, I know I've heard the term lucid dreaming, and people quite often will see a deceased loved one and that sort of thing. Is that what you're talking about there? Or?
Well, a lucid dream is a dream in which you know that you are dreaming.
Okay.
And once you know that you are dreaming, you can do all kinds of experiments. You can ask for support, or if the dream wants to show you something that's helpful for you.
Mm-hmm.
And but we could have, whether we're lucid or not, people might have a dream about being visited by a deceased ancestor, or you don't need to be lucid for that.
You know, there was a guy I dated briefly who he would, I guess, bring various tools to bed with him so he could incorporate them into his dream, which I remember at the time thinking that was rather strange. And I guess he was able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but that is there is something to that. What your intentions that you bring to the dream,
Uh-huh.
that they will come back. So some people wanted to have inspiration for a painting, and then they just put the white canvas next to their bed and told their dream, "I would like to have some inspiration," and somehow that works.
You know, I personally have had this experience. I'm a writer, and when I have gotten maybe writer's block or reached an impasse, I will sleep on it, and then all of a sudden I'll have an inspiration when I get up in the morning. Is that what's occurring?
Yeah, indeed. So the old idea is that people sometimes say sleep on it,
Yes.
and then and so you by own experience have already noticed that bringing an intention or just sleeping on an issue will help and solve that problem.
Kathy, what experiences have you had with dreams?
Oh my gosh, where do I start is more like it. I began having dreams when I was 12, and they have been consistently out of this world, literally. I remember being 14 and teaching myself how to fly in dreams. Machiel was saying that you can learn, and you can, when you realize you're in the dream. And like I'll give you an example. I used to fly off roofs. I'd take a running jump, and then I'd flap my arms like a bird with wings. And then of course I'd lose gravity, and then I'd realize, well, wait a minute, I don't need to flap my arms. I just need to think I want to be somewhere, and I'd be somewhere. So I just kind of evolved in my dreams. I learned how to become. I would meet a spiritual guide on the inner, and I was taught how to become invisible in times of distress. So, or like all sorts of things. My dreams have guided me. I've been writing them since 1985 faithfully. It's a discipline, because you're right. You do forget instantly. And so I'm very religious about writing them down immediately. And when I look back every month, I see progress. But the biggest thing that I can say about my dreams is that they have guided me to what I needed to do next, or where I was in any given situation. And to this day, my dreams are premonition, or whatever that word is.
Mm-hmm.
They show me. I have 100% faith in where I'm at. I really believe I've relived past lives through dreams. I have been able to find answers or solutions. I'm going to even say this, which I don't talk about too often anywhere, is that when I get very sick, I can go to places on the inner and find healing and wake up and feel and be better. You know, there's so many worlds, inner worlds, that you can access through dreams. And it's a gift to be able to recognize that.
Oh, absolutely.
That is so beautiful, Kathy, and I'm so happy you share this also with us.
Oh, it's been quite the. I'll give you a short example. The last day, I've been known that I had to quit drinking alcohol since 2006. They would come in the form of dreams always. My very first dream was the Book of Light was the size of the wall, and every time I would approach this book, because my link to God was this light, the book would slam shut, and I was devastated. And so it did that 3 times. But on the 3rd time, out of the light, there was words were randomly popping out, and a voice was reading them. And it said, "Kathy, as long as you drink alcohol, you will not have access to this book." And then it slammed shut. And it slammed shut so hard, I fell out of bed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But it took quite a few series of dreams consistently showing me that, okay, you're not getting anywhere as long as you're going to drink. You need to quit drinking. So on the very last day of my drinking, May 1st, 2011 or 12, I should say, I had a dream where a group of tribal women from the Atlantis era, they all had long brown hair down to their ankles, white dresses, and they're motioning for me to come to them. And they were saying, "My queen, my queen." I'm like, "Don't do that. That's awkward, weird." But so I couldn't understand. They were talking to me in biblical hymns. And because I couldn't understand what they were saying, all of a sudden a biblical scroll popped up in the air, like giant scroll. And my name was on the scroll, and it said, "Kathy, you must quit drinking alcohol. For every ounce of alcohol that touches your lips, 1,000 people are affected negatively." So then all of a sudden I'm pulled out of myself, and I'm looking at myself from above, like I'm below, and I'm watching myself drink. And all I see is a ripple effect of dark tar, kind of like blackness oozing out of me. And I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. Like, I'm doing that. And then all of a sudden the scroll pulls me back, and I'm looking at the scroll, and it says, "But for every ounce of love that you sow, 100,000 people are uplifted spiritually." And so then I see myself again, and this time I have love coming out of my heart, and it was coming out in the form of a rainbow, like all around me, and it reached worldwide. And it said, then the scroll brought me, and I understood that love is stronger than any negative, anything negative that we're doing. And so I need to sow love instead. And so then the scroll went on to say that God needed me in 1 year's time, and I cannot drink alcohol. And as I'm waking up, I'm watching myself pull out of the dream. The ladies had said, we've been following you for thousands of years, and we normally don't allow you to remember, but you need to remember this dream. And I woke up with that in my ear. You need to remember this dream. Of course I wrote it down, but it's interesting to note that that was the last time I ever had alcohol. And wow. It's interesting to note that exactly 1 year from that day, from that dream, when it said God needs you in 1 year's time, I got the phone call to get this job offer from Imperial Oil, ExxonMobil, which not only changed my life, but it has enabled me to help hundreds of thousands of people worldwide through everything that I do in my story. And had I still been drinking, I wouldn't have had the job. I wouldn't be where I am today. Right. And so it's very, very consistent to me when it comes, these dreams, and it's very regular, and I understand them, and I can actually analyze them and say, okay, because you know as well as I do that every person, their dreams are unique to that individual, and it means something to them that I don't necessarily believe you can get out of a book, right? Because it's almost catered, designed to that person who's having the dream, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I what a profound set of dreams you had, and how beautiful how it demonstrates that dreams are on your side. They want to help you live your life and become you. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just powerful.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
You know, your dreams have guided you, Kathy. They really have.
Oh, it's guided me nonstop. And I'm saying not just like, here's another one that I had during that era when I was trying to quit drinking, is that I was being chased by my crazy ex with a butcher knife, and I'm in snow up to my waist, and I'm having a real hard time moving ahead, which it was where I was at in my life with that crazy guy. And all of a sudden there's this pickup truck that's just running and ready for me to hop in. So I hop in the truck, and it had the truck had an energy around it so that my ex couldn't come near it, right? And nothing negative could approach it. And so all of a sudden, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him thinking, okay, I escaped one thing. And I look out the window, the windshield, and there's a really steep incline, and it's sheer ice, and it's filled with giant ice rocks. And I'm thinking, oh man, I left one chaos to get to another. How am I going to make it up this hill? Like, it was really steep, and it's like sheer ice. So the truck starts to make its way, and my hands aren't on the steering wheel. They're in my lap. The truck's making its way up this slope, and I didn't have faith in the truck guiding itself. So I put my hands on the wheel, and the second I put my hands on the wheel, the truck slid all the way back down to where I started. And so the second time, I took my hands off the wheel, and the truck started avoiding all the obstacles and making it all the way to the top, and it made it almost to the top. And I was panicking. I didn't have the faith. And so I put my hands on the wheel again, trying to control the truck. Well, guess what happened? All the way down the hill I went, right? Back to the bottom, until the third time, when the truck was making its way and driving on its own, avoiding the obstacles, I understood, kind of like let Jesus take the wheel. Mm-hmm. Just have faith in the universe and in God, and he will guide you. He will steer you literally to where you need to be. And so I never touched the wheel again, and I let myself be guided, and I made it all the way up the hill through the obstacles. And when I got up top, there was a 6-lane highway, kind of like here in LA, with crazy traffic, and the truck directed itself, and I was fine, and I woke up. And so it's learning to have faith in something greater than yourself that can guide and direct you in everything that you need to do or be in life.
Yeah, beautiful. And how it also shows that if you give over to this invisible power, or visible in the form of the truck, it will actually help you get up the mountain and support you on your path, and in ways that you as just an individual could never do.
Absolutely.
You know, I find it interesting that truck was symbolic. I mean, you drive a truck, Kathy.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought about that.
Yes.
Yeah. A real way of moving through life.
Yes.
And what I also like about what you share, Kathy, is these are dreams that come to people, especially if they pay attention to them, like you do with your journals. And I've also had several of these dreams that were so profound that helped me get back on my path, because I got derailed in my early 20s and was stuck, and then the dreams came that put me back on a life that was connected to a sense of purpose. And then in how I worked it out in that book Dream Guidance is that you don't have to wait for the dream to come to you. You also can ask your dream for supportive dreams, and so then you start really deepening that relationship even further.
Yes, you're right. But most people don't think about that. A lot of people just think, oh, it's just a dream. It's, it's nothing. Or no, dreams are powerful. Like even in my own book, Dream Big, I only put a chapter. It's called Demons and Dreams. I only put 4, like just very few of them. I just wanted people to recognize that they can tap into them, and whether it be good or bad, because a lot of people have nightmares, and that's a whole other topic. I mean, I played with the Ouija board when we were teenagers, and that opened up a portal, and I had to fight for years. The minute I fall into the astral plane, into the sleep pattern, I'd be battling demons and entities. And when I was drinking, it's like they were literally attached to me. And it took a long time for me to rid myself of that.
Ouija boards are scary things.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, my next book is it's fiction based on true events from playing the Ouija board as teenagers, but I'm kicking it up a notch, Stephen King style.
I had some scary stuff happen as a teenager after playing with a Ouija board, and
my God,
never did it again.
No. Yeah. We got rid of it. Like we had paranormal stuff in our house. It was crazy. But what that did is that opened up a portal, like in the dream world, that I can either go both ways. And when I was drinking, that just opens up the gates basically to these entities to come to you. So thankfully I've got 10 years sober and I don't have that. I've managed to rid myself of that. But a lot of people, they have sleep patterns where they're constantly reliving a nightmare, and that's a whole other issue, right?
Well, but what I also really resonate on when you say that how dreams helped you get sober, and dream work can be a spiritual practice, and having a spiritual life is one of these ideas, as you know, in AA, that will help for a person to stay sober. And I've worked with several addiction clinics here in where I live, also on helping people proactively ask a question to the dream, such as, what is one thing I can do to stay sober? And then the dream will come and show just one thing that can help on their path, and that can help them live a more, because my bias is that the sober life is a better life, that can lift them be happy and sober.
So what is actually happening, Machiel, with our dreams? Are we asking ourselves? Are we tapping into ourselves, a deeper part of ourselves? Or are we pulling it from the universe? I know a lot of people think, wow, that's just, kind of woo-woo. But what is really happening? I don't think that there's a whole lot of understanding in the mainstream on what's happening with dreams.
Yeah, what I think that is happening is just like we humans are like a little wave on the ocean. And so we are both an individual wave as connected to the ocean. And the same within dreams and with life. We are an individual, yet at the same connected to something larger than ourselves. We could call it the soul, or the collective unconscious, or a mystery, or some people would call it God. And so we're connected that way. And sometimes we get information that has to do more with the wave, and sometimes we get something from the ocean that can help us, but often not only help us, but is a support for bringing our gift to community. Just like Kathy shared that if she thinks and has loving thoughts, it touches not just herself, but many other people. And that's because I think we're connected as a wave to the ocean, and our actions have an impact on the ocean as well.
That's amazing. Now, there's some people who say they don't dream. Is it just that they don't remember the dreams?
Right, that is it. All research shows that we have probably about 2 hours of active dreaming each night,
Okay.
probably between 4 and 7 dreams. And because the short-term memory is inactive, we don't remember it, and it just people wake up and just don't know that they did dream. Yet the number one thing to dream recall is really telling the dream. I would love to have a dream before you go to bed, and then the next day have pen and pencil, of pen and paper ready, and write it down. And then people will have dreams, and maybe they remember 2 or 3 dreams a week, but that would be sufficient.
Sure. Now, I know that with my dreams, I don't always remember them. I probably should be more diligent writing things down so I'm more conscious of it. But my dreams can vary. Sometimes they can be nonsensical, kind of a lot of different things happening in the dream that make absolutely no sense. Or I'm going back in time to a place where I've lived. And sometimes they're like a musical. It's Technicolor. It's got music in the background. It's like a movie, which is rather interesting.
That is.
Yeah. That is what a lot of people report, that some dreams make sense, and instead of focusing on what might a certain image or character mean, we could ask a question as, what is the experience, or what is happening in the dream? And then we often get a certain dynamic or a pattern. Like I walk in the street, or I enter the supermarket, I'm looking for ingredients, and I can't find them. We might think, oh, that is nothing. But if you would ask what is happening, then you would have more the question of, oh, I'm looking for something, I'm looking for ingredients. And then you could ask yourself, where in my life am I searching for some ingredients? And then even a more nonsensical dream or a banal dream start making some sense.
So are we doing problem solving? I know that some people have repetitive dreams, the same dream over and over and over. Is it something that we're searching for an answer?
Yeah, and it is, the answer has not yet been found by the individual. Therefore, the dream continues to knock on the door and say, hey, here is an issue that you fall in a certain pattern every time again, and this is what is happening. And the moment we understand the message of the dream, or find a different way to respond to a certain life situation, the repeating dream will disappear. So that will be the clue of having found the right answer.
What is a nightmare then? Is that something different, or is it also a problem solving or a warning process that's going on?
Well, yes, it's definitely a warning process, and usually it has to do with either too much or too little fear. So nightmares are really fear dreams, and we have become really afraid for something, and now it starts taking on bigger and bigger forms in our mind. It becomes monsters, or people that chase us, or we can't get to the steering wheel and we feel we're driving off the road. And so the dream just shows what is going on inside of us, and how we are usually overly afraid for a situation. And if we could figure out who monster is in our life and how we can relate different to it, the nightmare would go away. And research shows that even just writing down nightmares start helping with people work through it, and then other dreams might come up with solutions.
You're absolutely right, because I've noticed that as I'm writing my dream, I'm because as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, what did that mean? But the second I put pen to paper, because I handwrite my dreams, I understand as I'm writing the significance. It's as if it's the fact, the effort of writing it down, it opens up something, and you're like, oh, that's what that meant, or oh, now I can connect the dots, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and because when we wake up, we're still very close to that a different state of consciousness that dreaming is. And so things, it's like, oh, I was running through the jungle in Vietnam, and I was like, oh, yeah, what could that be? If you write it down, then it takes on a different form, and sometimes it even takes a little bit of time, and throughout the day, someone says something that makes us think about a dream, or we read a passage in a book, and at once we think, oh, now I know what this dream indicates.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, is building a positive image of trucking by telling the story of the hardworking drivers and industry professionals who support the industry. And you can be a part of it. Learn more about TMAF and how you can join and be a part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting TMAF's website at truckingmovesamerica.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our latest channel, TikTok.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
I know that you can actually control a dream. I've done that. I've awakened and it was a really cool dream, and I decided I want to continue this dream, and I have.
Yeah. Yes, people report that. I somehow I've never had that experience, but it's also a form of intention setting. Just before you fall asleep again, you tell yourself, oh, I would like to re-enter the dream, and that intention goes forward in the dream, and that is also where this whole idea is built around, that you can ask your dream a question, because a question is a form of an intention, and your dream will respond to you if it has something to do with your life path.
In your book, Dream Guidance, you talk about incubation dreams and in a 5-step process to get answers. I was wondering if you wanted to cover that briefly so that people have an idea of what you're talking about. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, what I've done is after having these spontaneous helpful dreams, and see that in a lot of people, I noticed that you could ask your dream a question before you could go to bed to get help. And so I tested it in myself and on patients and clients and workshops. And then I did read in that many cultures have found that this is a helpful method. And so I looked at what the elements were that makes this successful. And I could give you a brief example. Recently there was a man who said, I'm back in the dating life, and I want to, but it doesn't flow well. So he decided to ask the question, what is my biggest block in my dating life? And so first he identified, step one is that you identify that there is a problem somewhere in your life and that you want to have help with it. And then step two is that you phrase the question. And I work it out in detail in the book, but asking the right question is really essential because the dream will respond to it. And so the way you ask it is really important. So this man asked, what is my biggest obstacle in my dating life? Then he did some ritual, and ritual is really a way to let the dream know, let from the little ocean, a little wave to the bigger ocean, that it wants some support and it wants some help. And maybe you burn a candle, you make a drawing, you do something to indicate that you want support, so that you also put some time in it, and that you treat it as a relationship, as if you are consulting a wise inner doctor or counselor that can help. And then, of course, step 4 is that you dream of sleep and dream. And step 5 is, and I can share quickly the dream that this person had. And he said, I'm driving in a car, and I'm in a square tunnel. And before me, there's another car, and then I see a mountain lion. I come a little closer and I see, oh, no, it's a tiger. And I slam on the brakes and I drive back. I back up. So that was his dream. And so he writes that down, and then he asks that question is, what is happening in the dream? So you have to follow up on the dream, even if you don't completely understand it. And he asked the question, what is happening in the dream? And then he said, oh, I'm driving somewhere. I'm in a tunnel that gives me a sense of where I am and how I'm thinking. And I see something that scares me. And when I get scared, I actually back up. And then he thinks, well, let me figure out where in my dating life do I get scared. And instead of engaging, I back out. So that gave him the first clue on how to approach on his quest for finding a partner.
Interesting. So that would be the fifth step, reflecting on the dream and determining the lesson. Okay.
Yeah.
Also in your book on page 95 to be exact, you talk about meditating in bed. And I want to touch on that because it's something that I have been doing since I have been 14. My mom taught me I was having a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of violence in my life, and I wasn't dealing with it very well.
Yeah.
And she taught me the word hue, and it's instead of saying Aum, like it's a meditational, it's an ancient name for God, I guess you could say. It's hue.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. And I've been singing that. You sing it for 20 minutes before you go to bed. And it's like one, like hue, like that, just over and over and over. And you tap in, you just close your eyes and you focus on your third eye. And it really, what it does, not only does it bring you peace and relieve anxiety, it helps sort the mind and it helps connect you. And when you fall asleep, it's almost as if it's a gateway to the dream world. And you can Google it. There's an app and I sing it every night. I've been doing it for years. And that form of meditation, I think what people don't realize is that you have to almost prepare yourself for the dream world. And when you talk about that meditating in bed before you fall asleep, lie in bed, meditate about your dream question for several minutes. I'm quoting your chapter there. And you write, this is one of the more helpful ingredients for triggering a dream that provides clear answers. And that's so accurate. And I think you need to set yourself up for that. Right. And the meditation is just, it's like a bridge. There you go. That's the right word.
Yeah. It's so fun that you have all these experiences that confirm what I've also discovered. And I think that sometimes I've done this technique with people and they say, oh, it didn't work. And then we look at why didn't not work. And it is often either they ask a question that is either not really relevant or phrased in a way that's difficult for the dream to answer, or they are a little bit what I would say sloppy in it. It's almost like they say, "Oh well, dream, give me the answer," and
they demand responses, and that's not quite how it works.
No, I call it the ritual. It's my term for. Singing, dancing, making a drawing, meditating, all those things. Also in all these cultures, whether you go to the Buddhist culture or the Hindu or African shamanism or just like us, we've noticed that if you engage in a respectful, heartfelt manner with the larger mystery and spend some time on it, that it just set the stage. And that it has a higher ability for the dream to come to you and know, oh yeah, Kathy, I know you're really interested. I would love to help you. And
be consistent, not just try it for 2 days. Oh, it doesn't work, and then give up. Right? Sure. Give it at least a month. And if you can be consistent, say, okay, 9:00 every night. This is my time. Turn the TV off. Turn all that negative crime shows, all that, and just this is my time for me to help myself and open up myself to be a better channel, to link, to be that link Well, for me, it's the hue. For other people, it's other things. But for me, my form of meditation is that. And I'll even sing the hue when I'm driving, if I'm anxious, or if I'll sing it in the morning, and it helps me. So people have to find what helps them. But I do highly recommend the hue because I've been doing it for so long and it works.
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're actually maybe changing your brain waves or something with a tone like that.
I think it's also you're elevating your vibrations to a different level. And I really, really believe that before you fall asleep, what you watch on TV or what you're reading or people say they have a fight as a couple and they go to bed angry. I think every little thing that you do before you fall asleep has a direct impact on your dream world.
Yes. Yeah. I've noticed that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, or eating a large meal before you go to bed, like that's definitely not good. So,
I've even heard from people that said, "Oh, I was reading this book, and then in the dream, I continued the story, and sometimes they feel they had better stories than the book really was when they picked it up the next day."
Well, here's one. This happened. This is the last time I watched a crime show before I went to bed. I fell asleep and I was watching that Paula. Oh God, what her name is? Paula Zahn.
Okay.
True crime. And so I fell asleep and I was listening to it and it was still playing and the TV was on and I fell asleep and I fell into the astral plane and whatever she was talking about on TV, this woman was being murdered. I dreamt I was with that woman and I was with her like she was dead and I was with her, I guess her soul. And we were watching the man who was murdering her and he was letting her, like he would strangle her and then release and then strangle her and then release. So she was kind of in and out of death. And I was with her and I was watching it. She kept saying, "Kathy, I got to go help this. I got to go help myself. I have to live." And it was so traumatic for me watching her die, watching the killer and watching the whole thing. And she took off running towards her own body. And I ended up, I was driving a car. I ended up driving into the ditch and I had to get this man to help me out. But that's when I woke up. But I realized that it's a very fine line, right? So everything you do, and it was so real. It was, my gosh, like I was there with this woman as she was dying. Like so now it's like, no. So anything I do before bed, I make sure it's almost sacred.
Makes sense. That brings to my mind, a lot of people take their phones to bed with them. That's probably a big no-no, isn't it?
Oh,
It is indeed better because everything that you do sets you up for the night, and in a certain way, like how Kathy described the whole ritual before going to bed and being serious about asking a question or preparing for the mystery to come in is also an act of self-love. It's I care about my life, I care about me, and I'm going to give some space and time for the ocean or the mystery to come in and nurture me and support me. And it does take some time, and we need to rip ourselves off of the addictive quality of television or the phone, and let our minds just get in a different state so that we're open. Because in that kind of high-paced, anxious, speeding up state, it's much more difficult for the deeper vibrations of the universe to come in. Sure. So we would do ourselves a favor by cutting ourselves off from the phone and whatever else.
Oh, yes. Well, I think too many people are addicted to their phones anyway and electronic devices. They're losing sight of themselves. They're externalizing everything into this device and trying to gain insight from Alexa instead of themselves.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com. Kathy Decaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
We have a couple minutes left, Machiel. I wanted to have everyone know where they can find your book, Dream Guidance. This is just wonderful information.
Thank you. Yes, the book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. There's a website called Book Depository, which delivers the book without delivery cost anywhere in the world. So if you happen to live somewhere that there's no Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, Book Depository, but you can also find all of that on my website, machielklerk.com. I will spell it quickly, machielklerk.com. And people can find the book there. And I hope that I wrote an easy to read book, and it is not overly long, but I think it's very applicable for people to just get started, even if you've never dreamt or you've not paid attention. This will give you some tools to start and experiment and learn for yourself that there is this guiding force in you, outside of you, that is interested in helping.
This is so insightful. This is exactly what people need. I think that people have lost sight of themselves, and they need to come to grips with that again.
On page 126, you write about the chapter's titled Nurture Your Relationship, and it says, the goal is to become attentive to what is present, listen with a kind ear to one's own intuition, and have the world of dream infuse your waking reality so that you may live a dream life. I love that.
I do
absolutely
too.
Love that.
Thank you. Yes, and I think that the dream is not just active at night. That state of consciousness, the ocean is always present. And in dreams, it can come easily to us because we're in a certain frequency to receive it. And the more we are attentive to it, the more this information comes in the day life by intuition, synchronicities, helpful moments that we experience.
I call it waking dreams.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that would broaden our perspectives and ability to do that sort of thing. So wonderful.
Yeah.
This is such a big topic that I think we could talk so much more about. Oh my gosh, to really delve into either like nightmares or other, waking dreams or soul travel and leaving our body when we're sleeping and actually looking at ourselves. And oh my gosh, I think, Shelley, we should have him back. What do you think?
I do too. I absolutely,
Machiel.
There's so many things to unpack here, and your insight is absolutely terrific. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Well, thank you. And I've had fun and find it very soulful to be here. And love to return when you feel there's a good time for that.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. This has been an absolute wonderful conversation.
Yes. This is going to be really helpful to our listeners. Thank you, Machiel.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Kathy. It was a joy to be with you.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at info@tncradio.live.
Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.